put youth in the community together this year. Woo! My name is Nehemiah. I'm super excited to be here. This has been my favorite camp for sure. I've seen a lot of camps, and this one has totally just transformed me. I'm excited to be a part of a family, people that love Jesus, and they just don't talk about it, but they're actually out in the community doing some amazing work. So I wanted to say that. Also, whoever was playing Frisbee with me earlier, we have got to play Ultimate Frisbee tomorrow. Just wanted to make sure you guys know that. All right? As well then. So I had a couple of people ask me, you know, why do you have all this energy? Why do you have so much joy? Well, I like to kind of say things in poetry form. So it wasn't until I had a personal encounter with Jesus and broke down like the game Jenga. Jesus showed me my sins. Waterfalls came out my eyes. My nose exploded like a volcano eruption and I couldn't hide. Jesus had came into my life and I couldn't deny. Asked him how much he loved me, then I started to cry because he stretched out his arms as wide as he could and said, "This is how much I love you. This is why I died." And the nails were in my hands to remind man that even if I budged a lot, my love for you would never stop. So that's my joy. That's where my joy comes from, because it's not based on Friday's check, even though that's a good thing. It's not based on the fact that my wife tells me she loves me, even after 16 years. Right? And that's a good thing. It's not because my beautiful girls tell me they love me. She's like, I know I know that. And that's a good thing. But my joy, the power of my joy, the power of my strength comes because Jesus loves me. See, I was raised in the church. My parents went to church, went to Bible study, and I was a part of youth groups and all that kind of stuff, and it was cool. But I was on the perimeter. I was on the outside of it. I heard the word. I was a part of the activities, but Jesus was compartmentalized. You know what that means? No. So what that means is like he was in a box that I checked off. I made sure I went to church. Right? I made sure I went to the youth activities. Right? And it was awesome. But there was no personal relationship like we were saying earlier. It was like I had the principles of the word, but I didn't have the prince. It was like I had the kingdom, but I didn't have the king of the kingdom. And so I remember, I'll never forget, it was January 2000. It was New Year's Eve going into 2000. And I heard the gospel preached, and they were doing an altar call, and it was just like, there was something that happened on the inside of me that changed everything, because I used to take everything personal. If there were a group of kids over there, and one of them looked at me and started laughing, you know what I would do? Anybody have an idea? I would take it personal. I was like, oh, they must be laughing at me. They could have been talking about something else. But I took it personal. Right? If I was in a relationship with a young lady and we're no longer in a relationship, guess whose fault it was? I took everything personal. Right? When it comes to anything in life, it was my fault. I took it personal. I got emotional about every single thing, even if it had nothing to do with me. But you know what I didn't take personal? The fact that he died on the cross for my sins. I never took that personal. It wasn't until January 2000, I'll never forget, when the gospel came with such power. I was in the church like usual, but the seeds that were all through my life, the seeds that were poured and poured and poured and poured, after years of being choked out by the world and trying to fit in and trying to be cool and all that kind of stuff, it would be choked out. I would go to church and I would go to school and people would call me Bible boy just because I went to church. I told them I had to go to church on Sunday. I would get ridiculed, so my lamp and light got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point where it's just like, we'll put Jesus on the back burner, right? But January 2000, I'll never forget. I was trying to be cool because everybody knew me in the church, but I felt this. It was time for me to really go all in for Jesus. But I was like, nah, I'm already all in. I'm trying to tell Jesus I'm already in, right? And I never forget, it was just like Jesus was on the stage and I was at a concert. Anybody been to a concert before? Okay, a couple people. So, you know how people are in the comments like, ah! And then the person on the stage like, I love you! And everybody's like, ah! Yeah. So, that's kind of how I looked at Jesus. He was on stage telling everybody love it, ah! Everybody screaming. But I didn't take it personal. It's kind of one of those, he's just kind of a blanket love, everybody. He loves the world. You know, Bible tells himself. It wasn't like a personal, like he knew what I was going through when nobody was looking. Like he didn't know the depression I was dealing with. He didn't know that even though I was in a crowd of people, I was sad. He didn't know that even though I was happy on the outside, when I went home, nobody was calling my phone. You know what I'm saying? There was the deep insecurities that I had, and I didn't know anybody knew about it until that day. It was like Jesus was on the stage. He said he loved everybody, and I was like, okay, there's another gospel sermon. But then the lights went out, and then the light was on me. Boom! And then he said, no, I love you. And I was like, what? Yeah. And then he said, but your sins are separating this relationship. And if you were to die tonight, you would not see me face to face. And then he showed me his arms. He showed me his feet. And he said, these holes are for you. I love you. I know you. And you talking about tears and snot that came from my face. Oh, it was ugly, right? I was trying to be cool, but he was like, forget cool. Cool is out the window. You belong to me now. It's on and popping. So I'm talking about snot, tears, everything. You know, I went to the front. I tell you, my life was changed forever. Nobody had to tell me to go to church. Nobody had to tell me to open my Bible. The things that I desired and went after, those things changed. All I wanted was him. I even had my friends say, oh, it'll last for about a week and he'll be right back out with us. Man, there was something that was changed on the inside of me that was so sure, I was so confident in the one that died for me. That is the only thing I take for. You can laugh at me, you can call me names. I don't take that personal because I know that you're a sinner. But what I do take personal is the fact that he loves me, he died for me, he's my first love, and I am the reason that he went to the cross. So, with all that said, which was like 15 minutes, I have a poem that I wrote in college. It's called You Thought of Me. So I haven't did this probably since college. So if I forget it, y'all bear with me. So here goes. Jesus, your word says that you died for sin once and for all. But I just want to thank you for thinking about me above all. Even though you had a legions of angels in the heavens on call, you knew to save us from the penalty of sin, you had to take this great fall. In your word, your pain I saw. What was your motivation? Was it your thoughts about me that gave you some inspiration? How can a perfect one like you want to save a sinner like me from eternal damnation? When there's nothing good that dwells in me, all I have is a generation of sin cells in me. Jesus, I fail to see the reason why you fell for me. When I would put other things before you committing idolatry. Jesus, I was living my life sloppily. I just knew I had a purpose, possibly. I was searching for love and acceptance, and nothing was stopping me because sin had a lock on me. But Jesus, you told me that you had the key and that you cared for me, and that you would never leave me nor forsake me, and that there's now no condemnation for my sins because your love covers all. Even though I'm filthy as a rag, you said I'm not guilty at all because you took my sins for me at Calvary when you thought of me. They stripped you naked for the world to see, but you thought of me. The whips would stick and rip your skin because of my sin, but you thought of me. You lost lots of blood from your back, and that wasn't last. They made a crown out of a thorn patch and made it so that it would sit on your head like a fitted cap, and you could have died just like that. But you thought of me with no skin on your back. They made you carry the cross just like that, with no shoes on, with two bruised arms. The mockery goes on, yet your love for us is still strong. Whew. Now you're at Calvary with some serious love pains, and the road you walked on has your blood stains. The soldiers are lifting the nails, and your hands and feet are the aim. The soldiers crushed the nails through both the same. didn't get off the tree? Because you thought of me. Jesus did no crime, but he died because I was on his mind. Nope, love is not blind, because he saw fit to come in the nick of time. I searched the whole world and could not find a love like yours, which is so divine. So I count all things as dung compared to the priceless gain of knowing Jesus, the Holy Son. Jesus, living for you was my only fun. So I'm going to give you praises if I'm the only one. Because if you didn't die for anyone else, I know you died for me. Before I was a dead man shackled to sin, but because of you I'm alive and free. Once tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine, now I'm a planted seed, casting out living seeds, because Jesus lives in me. I'm not fearing my enemy or death. That's just the beginning for me. Even though I know what the penalty of sin should be, eternal damnation is what it ought to be. But Jesus came down from heaven and he sought for me, took my place in hell and then fought for me, overcame the gates of hell. Now my cost is free, and now I'm saved by his grace, because Jesus thought of me.